Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Durbanites FPL. This is the game week 15 preview. So let's get into it, starting with Arsenal Wolves. Arsenal will look to extend their lead at the top before some tricky fixtures coming up. Tomiyasu has taken a small knock, but no other key squad members are missing from last week. You got to look at Saka, Odegaard, and possibly Gabby Jesus for points coming up. Wolves are still good for points. Win or lose, they take on 5-goal Burnley this week, but I'd suggest looking at He-Chan and Cunha in the absence of Neto for any points. Brentford are making sure that they put enough distance between themselves and the drop zone before focusing on an elusive European berth. Brighton up this week will be a test. They face their own challenges with injuries, but Matthias Jensen could be back after his thigh injury, and Mbumo has been consistent with Maupai starting to show some threat. Luton may be able to rock the title race, but I'm not betting on that in the upcoming weeks, so no recommendations there. Burnley's 5-goal routing of Sheffield United may prove to be the highlight of their season. Lyle Foster is still injured, but you can see a few options above to score. Maybe the most consistent call-out is Josh Brownhill as they take on Wolves, but Wolves at the Molineux have been giant killers. Sheffield United are already in a heap of trouble and are unlikely to change that against a Liverpool side undefeated in the last 5, so no recommendations here. Forest are in some trouble with injuries up front. Awani is going to miss the festive run completely, and now Chris Wood has a knock. Ilanga and Gibbs White are the only form players to look at, although with 4 losses in the last 5 against all opposition, I would not recommend. Everton start the long climb back out of relegation, but Newcastle are tough competition and they have similar records in the last 5, but Newcastle are on a better run, even travelling to Goodison Park. Mikalenko and Tarkowski are holding their line, and Mikalenko does pull the trigger often. Doucouré is the consistent go-to man, with Jack Harrison a possible outsider. Moving on to Newcastle Manchester United, what a game this was. Newcastle pressed all the way and walked out worthy winners. Some good games coming up, so if you're looking at Trippier, Gordon, Almiron or Isak, even with injuries, Newcastle are on a roll. Manchester United are as disappointing and inconsistent as expected. The only credible picks are Bruno and Dallo, but Chelsea can beat anyone on their day and have a better record against the top 5 clubs than United this season, so no recommendations for them. Bournemouth did well to hold Villa at home and the front line came to play. Solanke is on good form and still a good pick against Crystal Palace. Hold him, Tavernier and Semenyo if you have them. Villa have the uphill battle now. City and Arsenal back-to-back is tough. Not many injuries to be concerned about, but not recommending anyone in the first 11. Although on their form, Diaby and Watkins may be worth a hold, I would recommend stepping out for the next 3 weeks. Chelsea took the win to move into the top half of the table. Enzo Fernandez finally coming good, but again, no consistency from week to week. The game against United is too hard to call. They lost Conor Gallagher due to suspension, but Reece James is back. Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer are the way to go, with Nicholas Jackson as an outside pick for a backup striker if you do want to go Chelsea. Brighton blew a winnable 3 games out of 4, taking only 6 points out of 12 and lost to the first tough opposition that they faced. Brentford will challenge an injury-hit team, and you can go with Mitoma and Gross, Ferguson or João Pedro, but none of them are averaging around 5 points a game. So Liverpool gave a lot of people a heart attack last week, but pulled this result out of the fire. Salah and Tsimikas are my picks as they still have good fixtures ahead. Trent is an expensive pick for not even 5 points per game. Salah is averaging almost 8 points per game and is also a big captain pick this week. Fulham have a chance to move a bit clearer of the relegation zone with this week's fixture. If anyone, you want to look at Willian, but no one else on the squad has even 4 points per game. West Ham are up against a fighting Tottenham squad this week. Aside from Jared Bowen, who is back to full fitness and averaging almost 6 points per game, everyone else is struggling to maintain 4. Possibly James Ward-Prowse for his set pieces in this game. Palace have been struggling and may be able to get something against Bournemouth, but looking at the next fixtures, I would not recommend. Now, City have to try and climb back to the summit again this weekend, and Villa are not easy, but after that, the table is set. They have a lot of injuries in midfield with Grealish, Rodrigo, Matheus Nunes and De Bruyne out, and Doku nursing a knock. So look to Foden to get game time. Haaland is hitting great form, also averaging 8 points per game if you can afford him. Spurs fought back for the draw here, and with vice captain Romero back from this week, I expect them to get solid again at the back. Porro, Udogi, and Vicario are all also good to seal up that defensive line. Madison and Sarr are still out, so Son is still going to have to carry that attack, and it may be easy to close him down, which I expect West Ham will do. So I favor the Spurs backline this week instead of the attack. Now looking at the fixture rating coming up, these are the teams that I would pick for the next couple of weeks. Liverpool still on a great run. Newcastle, except for Tottenham, have a fairly good run. Then looking at Spurs as well, again except for Newcastle, no big issues there. And then look at City and Chelsea after this week's game to strengthen up that squad. And seems to be cautious with Crystal Palace and Aston Villa coming up against the big teams as well as Luton. So definitely wants to avoid Manchester United on their current form. Chelsea and Liverpool might be too much for them. So try and stay away from these guys. So there's a lot of videos coming up, guys. There's a lot of game weeks coming up in the next 30 days. So hope you're enjoying the content. Please drop me a like and subscribe, of course. And again, any comments on this video on what you'd like to see would be appreciated. Until the next game week on Saturday, so long for now.